Hello, hello. Hope everyone's doing good. All right. Some dramatic music to draw to. Okay. Probably going to start with a 20, give or take. You know the drill. Let me know if the sound or the visuals are not up to scratch, and we will resolve that. All right, let's get cracking. Welcome new members, by the way. Yeah, hopefully you found the link to the reference in the community chat, on the community chat page, I should say, of my channel on YouTube. There you'll find the link, and you can draw along if you're a member. All right. Yeah, let's start with a 20 to see what happens. Okay, let's do this. Hope everyone's doing good on this fine Monday. All right, let me start the timer. That will help. There we go. Yeah, let's aim for a 20. Maybe we'll get on a little bit quicker. Maybe not. Nice. Really nice angles on this pose. Some lovely shape ideas. So this hip is actually, because we've got compression on this side, this leg is pretty much going straight down, but this hip is really kind of pushing out. Let's find the aces. It's going to be sitting about here. I want to find this axis as much as anything. All right. Something like that. Inguinal ligament, and down to the pubic bone. It's already time to jump through the music. Didn't take long, did it? All right. This leg, yeah, coming down. I'm only drawing down to the knee. Feel free to draw the whole pose. If this knee is about here, this may need adjusting slightly, but this knee is about here. But yeah, it's this, I want to really get this kind of rhythmical idea of this hip tilt. That kind of thing going on, right? And then this leg going away from us. Really lovely shape language to her legs. I want to try and capture that if I can. So this leg is kind of coming towards us, something like that. This one's a little bit more straight down. Okay, so iliac crest is going to be here and here. Arch of the rib cage we can kind of see sitting in here. Something like so. Interesting pose this, because obviously she's suspended by these this material. I don't know what would you call that. Point being is it's going to definitely have an effect on her weight distribution. You know, elbows about here. This arm coming up this way. Wrist is going to be about there. Head is about there. And then head of the humerus for this arm is here. Obviously this arm is going right up this way, and then off screen where she's holding the top of this material. Pectorals coming down. Navel sitting about here. I want to find that center line for the form. This is going to help understand things volumetrically. This arm is sitting here. And going away from us here, something like that. Oblique sitting in this area here. On this side we have, obviously there's this material cutting across the form here, and it's really cutting into her side here. And then there's a direction change where the tension goes in this direction up to her hand and then out. So we just want to be mindful of that as we're drawing. Hair sitting in here. Now, why do we have vocals? Vocals are forbidden. Alright. I find vocals super distracting when I'm drawing. I prefer myself some instrumental. Okay. Now we've got obviously rib cage coming down in this direction, meeting up. You can see the aces there. What we're actually kind of seeing here is, on this side, is really the transition into the gluteus medius. Coming down this way, coming down, and then pushing out for the widest point of her leg, where the great trochanter is. Sitting right about there. Actually, I think this knee might be a little bit higher. Maybe about there. And this one about there. Something like that. Ribbons. Yeah, ribbons. That's a fair call. Cool. All right. So let's get in a little bit of anatomy here. So we have the sartorius is coming down this way, sitting there, subdividing this leg. Can't really see it, but we know it to be there. So I'm going to just pencil that in. Something like that. Same thing, tensor fasciolate, it's very, very soft, if you can even see it at all. But we know it's sitting there. Okay, I think I'm going to get into this a little more now. Let's start with our rib cage, this transition here. So you just get a peek of the oblique, coming in, rib cage, latissimus, well actually scapula, but the latissimus sitting on top there. And then coming in to the deltoid and there. Tricep sitting in here, coming to the elbow. Something like so. Forearm. And coming to the hand. As I said, it's kind of gripping there, something like that. Bicep. So, from the manubrium here, I actually think the head of this humerus is about here. We can see that really quite kind of aggressive pull of the pectoral muscle coming down this way. Deltoid sitting in there. Tricep going up that way. Okay. Okay, now pectoral coming round. Breast sitting in here. Okay, that'll do for now. Rib cage coming down the oblique. We can't really see it because of this ribbon that's cutting across, and then we have this kind of compression right there. Just love this shape transition down into this leg. Something like that. Good stuff. Okay. And we come across the form to the inner thigh. Something like so. And then this left leg. so. All right. A lot of tone in this area. Anyway. Cool. All right. Yeah. Not feeling it. All right. So let's just look quickly at this material, because I do think it's important. So we've got a point of tension here, direction change, right? And then that's coming up this way. Across the form there. Can't be comfortable. So in there. And then we can see it down here. There's another one on this side, but not too concerned about that one because it doesn't really, at least in my case here, it's not really helping tell the story. Okay. Indicate a little bit more anatomy here and there. Not sure how much of this lighting pattern I want to follow, because once again we've got two lights. You know what, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do my own just conceptual light pattern. Because I do want something to help give a sense of, you know, get something to help describe some of these forms, but I don't really want to do a super complex lighting pattern. Be a cast shadow under here, wouldn't there? I'm kind of lighting as if the light source is coming from this direction, right? But it's a bit cheaty. Always like to get, as I said before, I always like to get this pocket of half tone in where this turn of form comes here. So we come from the lit side of the form down into direction change here, and then there's a little pocket of light there before we come back down the form here. It's kind of the idea anyway. It's the idea. Put this into turn there. Okay. Ah, 20 minutes. Okay. Good enough. Let us move on. Next pose. I like this one. I don't feel like we've done this type of angle for shortening before. I certainly haven't, not in a very long time. Yeah, this next pose kind of grabbed my attention. I thought, this is really kind of cool. So let's give it a go. We are going to have to be thinking, you know, kind of quite closely, or looking quite closely at what's going on with the foreshortening here. Okay, let's do it. Reset the clock. Let's plan on another 20, huh? I'm going to start kind of over here. Allow myself the room. So, at least to the rib cage portion of her upper torso is fairly conventional, right? It's kind of, you could almost imagine that as being a regular standing pose. It's when we get past the rib cage to this point here, this is where it gets interesting. So we've got spine there, and then we've got foreshortening here, and it's almost like this, the sacrum is sitting about here, quite foreshortened on that, and then coming down this way. You can almost see like that when we just come off this vertical here, just get a hint that the oblique is sitting there. And then we've almost, like, if we want to look at it in terms of planes, we've almost got this kind of thing going on, right? Something like that. And then we've got the, it's probably a bit deeper, and then we've got the cylinder of the leg, which is kind of compressed slightly. And that's rhythmically, that's kind of coming in this direction. If you use the center line here as our yardstick, so this is coming out to about here, right? Give or take. Going to be some adjustment here because it is an interesting kind of foreshortening challenge, this. These legs obviously coming towards us. Something like that. And then the lovely overlapping form of the calf sitting in here and kind of coming down this way. And then the ankle is about here, and be careful of your distances that you don't make them too long, which is easily done in a pose like this. And then this is all very approximate right now. I will no doubt adjust accordingly. And then this foot sitting in here, roughly. And then, yeah, this heel is about here. Get us in the ballpark, at least for now. Let's get on everything else and then we'll come back to those proportions. So we've got, if our sacrum is here, this is even shorter again. It's about here. Yeah, you gotta be careful with this stuff. Okay. So yeah, oblique is about there, then coming out rib cage. Scapula is sitting about here. She's leaning against a bar, which I do think is worth putting in to give it context. Otherwise it looks like she's just floating in a weird way. So that bar is sitting about there. This arm coming down this way. See, even when I look at that, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I need to pull down here ever so slightly. Something like that. I'm not going to worry about the rope. It really is incidental to what we're doing. It's not providing anything other than decoration. Yeah, an interesting little exercise here. And the way these legs are connected is really lovely. See, I already feel like I'm going to want to pull this calf up a little bit. Maybe to about here. Something like that. Okay. Mermaidian. It's funny you should say that, Margot. It actually comes from a the pack. It's this particular series is called Mermaid Special. So I'm guessing that was their inspiration. And for members, you will find a link to the full reference pack, obviously on the reference page. I'm afraid I can no longer put them in the link in the description. But for anyone who isn't a member and they're really curious to get this pack, you can message me and I will provide you with a link to it. Knee is about there. Actually, before I come from this direction. Actually, you know what? I don't want to commit to that line right yet because I might push things ever so slightly. So coming up, rib cage, latissimus up to the armpit, scapula sitting here. Okay, some very subtle shapes through this area. D-Boy Art, nice to be here and learn so much. Great, good to have you along. Okay, let's keep going here. So, this leg. Got some compression just in this area here as we then come up to there. Something like that. I think with a bit of tone on this, it hopefully will come together. Tricep coming up. Deltoid. To the trapezius. That tiny little direction change right there for the compression. So forearm is sitting on this thing. Yeah, just beautiful overlapping forms here with the calf sitting in there. I'm actually obscured by some folds of cloth here, but I'm going to see if I can just ignore that and draw through. This is kind of doing that. Can't see this because, as I said, that material is overlapping here, but I'm going to draw it. And these toes coming down this way. Side of the foot is there. Ankles sitting about there, can't really see it because of the rope. Something like that. Heel of the foot is sitting in here. If we just draw a center line down our foot there. Going down like so. Toes sitting in there, little toes in here. And the heel of this foot coming around this way. You know, the way that these feet are kind of overlapping each other, it is good to just try and take a moment to get a sense of what it is that's going on and just try as best as possible to capture the idea. It's pretty complex, but something like that. I'm just going to clean this drawing up just a tiny bit here. Okay, I'm going to get into some light and tone. Once again, we've got the two light sources. Not a fan. Going to ignore. I'm going to do my light sources if it's coming from this direction. Okay. Alright, let's get in some light. Let's get in some core shadows. Now, so you remember we talked right in the very beginning about the way that this box is kind of coming towards us, and then the turn of the form is right about where this line is, right? So, by that logic, That's also kind of going to be where essentially our core shadow is, right? Our tone of form. It's going to be sitting in that area. Has to, right? Like just by the logic of forms turning in space and going away from light. So my light's coming from here. There's going to be a cast shadow in here. But then the core shadow is going to be on this side. Sitting in there. Light's coming from here. It's going to be as the form turns here. Well, let's just get a nice sense of where the hamstring are. Cast shadow here. This will all be in shadow. And there. Okay. Okay. Tricky pose. Bryce, how you doing on Twitch? What's your favorite thing to draw as a warm-up? You know, sometimes I'll just draw, I'll do a quick figure study from the imagination. That's usually pretty useful study. When I'm doing the live streams, we tend to just go straight into the longer, slightly longer poses. But normally I would say, yeah, like, you know, quick study from memory, just to warm up the hand, get the brain thinking in those terms. but it can vary. It kind of depends on the mood, to be honest, to some degree. Don't tend to do a ton of warm-up anymore. I used to do a lot more, but just sit down and draw. This drawing's kind of dirty. I mean, like, as in charcoal-y, not subject-wise. Okay. I think that'll probably do it. And we're at the 23-minute mark, so I think that that's as good a place as any to stop. Fun drawing, challenge. Definitely challenging. But foreshortening's always a bit of a challenge, you know, like just make sure we get everything sitting roughly in the right spot. But I think all in all that didn't turn out too badly. So yeah, in both of these cases we've gone with kind of conceptual light. We haven't used the light source on the reference. And I just think that if, you know, you can understand that as a concept, conceptual light as a concept, it's just going to free you up a lot, right? As far as how you can say certain things. You're not going to be restricted by what's necessarily going on your model or your reference, which is really useful. Okay. Brazilian Club, long-time YouTube sub. Just found you also on here. Yeah, I'm on Twitch now. Last couple of weeks, I figured why not? All right, stream to one, you might as well stream to the other. Do me a favor, for you Twitch folks, please spread the word if that's a thing on Twitch. I really don't know, but I definitely need to get my Twitch presence a little bit more established. So that would be really useful. Thank you. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm just reading some chat, which is, my chat is kind of half, well, not broken, but it didn't all go to the same place, so I've got a couple of chat windows open here. Let me have a quick look here. Arlene, welcome. Yeah, you need to be not on mobile to join, but if you're on a PC or a desktop, laptop, there should be a join button right below the video. The only thing that gets injured is your ego. Without warm-up, yeah, look, I do think there's a place for it, but you know, you could get into a whole philosophical debate, but what does warm-up even really mean? Yeah, that lean is tricky, Margot, on that last pose, right? And capturing that, getting the sense of the form moving, either, depending on how you want to look at it, towards or away from us in space. Not easy. This next one's going to be a doozy too. Kind of the opposite of what we just did. This is a good tricky session today for those of you who are new to this. We normally do slightly more quote-unquote conventional poses, but I just fancied doing some foreshortening today and kind of pushing. Mega Explosion Man says, I might pester someone to raid you at some point. No promises. No, no problem. I believe I know what that is, but if it happens, I'm not sure how I should react to that. But yeah, great. Thank you. Cool. Okay, guys, let's do this next pose. All right, I'm moving on to pencil number 2. I think this is going to be a long one too. This is probably going to be a 25-minute pose, guys, because there's just a lot to work out. Let's see. All right, I'll reset the clock, or I'll start the clock. Let's do this. Now, her shoulders are essentially straight across, right? The bar is at a tiny, tiny bit of an angle, but I am, for all intents and purposes, going to, at least for the shoulders, they look pretty horizontal to me. So I'm going to treat them as such. I'm going to put them there. Manubrium's going to be about here. Coming down. Now things are moving towards us. From the foreshortening, arch of the rib cage is going to be about here. That will get us in the ballpark. Coming down, so if this is the arch of the rib cage, coming down, the oblique is sitting about here. And then the leg is like right next to it, right? We've got oblique, and then we've got her hip kind of sitting here. Now, before we get any further, manubrium's here. Let's find a very loose, large shape for the rib cage, or the upper torso. Careful not to draw too big. Somewhere in there. And then we've got, yeah, oblique here. And we've got this mass of the glute coming down this way. Once again, heavy foreshortening. It's all getting real. This leg coming down this way. Knee is about here. Tibia, and the calf and all of this business. Coming down this way. You can see the back of the leg there, and the calf. It's going to be sitting in about here. Coming down, ankle, foot, coming down this way. All right, it's getting bigger. Once again, I may push and pull these ideas, but gotta have something on the page to start the conversation, right? Can always change it. Excuse me. Okay, and then this knee sitting about here. This leg coming down this way, and the foot sitting about here. If we can see, the calf starts about here, and reveals itself about there. Heel, heel. Big toe. Okay, ballpark. Let's move back up the form. Okay. So clavicle going up this way because her arms are on this bar, which is sitting about here. Clavicle. This shoulder is sitting about here. The delt, head of the humerus is about here. Then this arm is going down this way, resting on this bar, sitting in here. Pectorals coming across the form this way. Breast is sitting about here. Coming around the form. Breast is sitting about there. Pectorals going up this way. Head of the humerus, and once again this arm is coming down as well. Okay. Forearm, wrist. This hand is sitting here. Something like that. This one is sitting over here. Okay. Yeah, manubrium, sternocleidomastoid coming up this way. Ear is about there. Face going away from us. And sitting in there. Something like that. Okay, so coming back down to business, manubrium, sternum, arch of the rib cage is about here. Once again, we got some pretty serious foreshortening going on in here. We said the obliques about here. Look how off I was with my leg. Let's pull that down just a tiny bit to about here. Well, I could end up regretting that. Rib cage coming down this way. Yeah, that leg is actually about there. That's okay. Okay, it's actually not too bad. I think we can make those adjustments on the fly. calf. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, toe is here. Heel into the pads of the foot coming down this way. Okay, we'll tweak that as we get to it. So once again, this leg, you can actually see this leg. Gee, this is quite convenient. We can push this stuff up a little bit because we need to be able to see this other leg anyway. It's all going to just turn out just fine. And this leg is actually coming from about here, calf coming down. Something like that. Okay, I think that'll do us. I think our proportions are pretty good here. Lot to plan out on these, right, guys? Whenever you get to heavy foreshortening, pull the brakes and just take your time to figure it out. Very hard to find long lines of gesture in heavily foreshortened poses. I usually wait. When I got a pose like this, I'm like, okay, I'm saving the long rhythmical ideas for the stage I'm doing now, right? Now I can start to think about rhythm. Now the technical side of the drawing is kind of taken care of. Now we can have some fun, hopefully, and find the long rhythmical ideas of the drawing. Whenever you've got foreshortening, it's really about just being patient and trusting the process. Coming down. So we're coming down off the latissimus there. Coming down with the rib cage and then down to that oblique that we talked about right at the very beginning, sitting in here, right? So now it's all starting to kind of click, hopefully. On this side. Rib cage coming up. Then we have our pectoral muscle is sitting in there, but we also have the latissimus peeking out here. Sitting in there. Lovely fat pad I like to find just below the armpit there. Okay. You floor it. Nice one, Lulu. Yeah, that's another solution. Just floor it, hope for the best. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to just talk about something really important at the end of this pose when it comes to foreshortening and perspective. No doubt something I've mentioned before, but I think it's really worth reiterating. But I'll mean just putting a fresh sheet down, so I want to just obviously keep going right now. Okay, let's get to these legs. So, once again, we got overlapping forms and forms in front of forms and, you know, every tricky thing in the book. Okay. All right. Hamstring. It's coming through this way. Okay. Yeah, right. I agree, Lily. Music's quite appropriate. It's a standoff between us and the pose. Okay. We've got this little row of toes down here. Okay. Heel. And we got our little pinky toe sitting in here. Something like that. Okay. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Tricky. All right, where are we at? 22 minutes. Yikes. Okay. Not sure what we're going to do tonal-wise on this one. I'm not sure I really want to get into tone on this. Maybe just a little bit of just describing form here and there. I think we'll probably do it. It's kind of working, you know, it's a diagrammatical drawing. Yeah, I feel like I want to leave this before I wreck it. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Okay, I'm going to call it. Drawing is filthy, but I will clean it up in post. And what I just mean by that is I'll go in with the eraser and tidy up some of the smudges. There won't be any Photoshop tomfoolery. All right. Let's get to the next pose. I think, well, let's have a look. I think that was the hardest one. Oh no, we have a pretty tricky one coming up. But I think that those were the hardest too. Yeah. Thanks, Lulu. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. I think all things considered, you know, tricky pose. Oh yeah, let's just talk real quickly about something about foreshortening. I think that this is actually really important, as I said. So, if we're dealing, let's just take an upper torso. And let's say it's going away from us, right? Quite heavily foreshortened. So the cylinder in space is doing something like this, right? If we could imagine this is a cylinder. all lines on the cylinder, right? This is our, imagine this is our torso, right? I mean, just putting out the arch of our rib cage there. Okay. All lines, to continue the illusion of this moving in space, moving in this direction, all lines must go in this direction. As soon as you start pulling a line in this direction, you're going to kill the illusion of things moving away in space, even if that's what you see on the model. You ignore it. Let me give you an example here. Okay, there's our center line. Let's say our manubrium's up. Oh, that's unfortunate. Our manubrium's here. Let's say our clavicle's sitting here. It doesn't really matter. Okay, head is sitting here, let's say. Manubrium's here, sternum, arch of the rib cage, right, coming down this way. And our model is going away from us. Because of the foreshortening in that, the pectoral muscles are going to be sitting about here, right, going up. Let's say this arm is coming up this way. Pectoral's going to be sitting something like that, right? Deltoid, tricep, etc. You get the idea. Now, when you come to something like the breast, which is a mass sitting on top of another mass, right? It's sitting on top of the cylinder of the rib cage or the box of the rib cage, whatever shape you decide to prescribe to that mass. That's your choice. But let me show, for example, in that last pose, let's say pectoral muscle is sitting here, right? Coming down like that. Now, we've got the mass of the breast sitting somewhere in here, right? Something like that. And it's following, the bottom form of it is following this kind of concept, right? And on our model, it's actually, there's a slight, ever so slight curve coming in this direction, but in actual fact, this is where you ignore that and you keep things moving in this form like this, because that will continue the illusion of this moving back in space. Watch what happens if I do what we think, oh, a breast hangs down and it creates an arch going in the other direction, right? That's kind of the way the brain works. But look what happens when we do that. If I do this, I've now completely killed this concept of things going away. So it comes back to that idea of, imagine that whatever form it is, whether it's a cylinder of a leg or the torso, whatever, imagine it's covered in striped material, like, you know, striped leggings. That's the example that we use, right? You imagine these stripes going in this direction. Okay, you feel that's moving away from us, moving in this direction, right? As soon as you start doing this, you start destroying all of your hard work, right? So always look to move things in the same direction as the perspective is moving. Okay? All right. There you go, Lulu. You're welcome. Yes, very, very, very important. And you will see things, as I said, you will see things on the model that will either be doing the thing I just told you not to do, or your mind will trick you into thinking that's happening because, well, breasts hang down, they create a curve in a particular direction. Resist that temptation with everything, including shadows. You might see a shadow, you might have an arm coming across a form like this, and it's creating curves on the, like the cast shadows creating curves. doing what we're talking about, going against the direction of the form, change them, right? Just change them to fit the direction that things are moving, to continue to keep that illusion of things moving in space in one direction. Can't emphasize it enough, but I will stop. T2 says, thanks. So can you show how her left breast would be drawn? Well, I kind of showed it with the right one. So because of that, what's going on there, you can imagine those two forms kind of, you know. But like, look at the reference, T2, right? You'll remember. Look at the reference. You could even take that into something like Photoshop and draw that cylinder or that box and draw those lines around the form. Her breasts are following the rules that we discussed, I just discussed, right? That's why I brought it up. So you've got the information in the reference, all right, the correct information. But even if it wasn't correct, make it correct in your drawing. Don't be fooled into thinking that you need to do it the other way. It will kill, nothing will kill a drawing faster in foreshortening than doing what we just discussed. Okay, rant over. All right, let's draw. Geez, we've almost been, well, no, we've been going, what, just under an hour and a half. We've got 2 poses to do. Yeah, let's plan on like a 15 for this one, huh? That sounds about right. It's gonna need it. Here's the thing with this next pose. On its surface, it's not a particularly difficult pose. What's gonna trip you, or trip me, and potentially you up with this pose is the fact that everything's upside down. And it's a great illustration of how, you know, we talk about language, right? We learn the language, and the more we can get quite fluent with the language. But then when you've got to talk backwards, doesn't matter how fluent you are in a language, suddenly you have to really think about it, right? Or, you know, same kind of thing here. Relatively straightforward pose, but we don't normally draw our model upside down. So it's going to take some thinking. So let's find our large ideas. That pencil ain't going to work, is it? It's too noisy. Yeah, which one will I use? Let's see. This will do. And this throws me off too, guys. It's like everything's kind of backwards. Plus we have foreshortening here as well. But not nearly as severe, obviously, as our last pose. Manubrium is going to be about here, clavicle, humerus. God, it throws me off. We did an upside down pose probably about a year ago now, and it was the same problem. Okay, so let me think. Manubrium, sternum, arch of the rib cage sitting in about here. Something like that. See, already my shapes are just wacky. Anyway, bit of fun. we can see very clearly the aces, right? Very, 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 very clearly, which is lovely. And they're sitting about here and here. The inguinal ligament's going to be moving in this direction. We can actually see the iliac crest coming up this way. And we can kind of get a hint of the oblique sitting in there. Yeah, if you could totally cheat like that, Lulu, and flip the drawing 180 degrees. Where would be the fun in that? Chris says, what does Chris say? Why not use both means of drawing a female torso from a low eye level? You could mix both to get a compromise, right? So, of drawing a female torso from eye level. Sorry, Chris, I'm not sure I get the framing of your question. Why not use both means of drawing a female torso from eye level, from low eye level? You could get a mix. You could mix both to get a compromise. Sorry, dude. Not quite sure I'm understanding. It's probably me. Okay, so this leg is sitting here, going away from us. As is this one. Sitting in here. Actually, this is too long. This is shorter. This is going away too. You know, just coming back to our other point, not to flog it to death or anything, but this is why, Margot, for example, you know, you were saying something that resonated with you. This is why you'll constantly see me drawing these, let's call them topography lines around the form, because it tells me the direction something's moving in, right? It's kind of like a visual cue of, okay, what direction is that pointing? And then I know then I want to keep lines moving in that particular direction, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Pectoral. Because of the gravity, the breast is kind of sitting quite high on the form, right? It's kind of pushing down this way. Now, it should be said, for those of you who are not looking at the reference, she's not completely hanging. This is kind of giving a slightly false illusion. Hopefully I'll be able to fix it or adjust it as needed. She's resting on a bar. So we can imagine, like, if we could see through the transparent, we got a box here, the side of a box here, the front of the box here, right? We're doing something like that if we want to start boxing this thing out. But she is actually resting on this bar, which must be super uncomfortable. But point being is it's kind of coming across like this. Hopefully that will make a bit more sense. It's also a weird angle that the photographer's at, so kind of a few things to juggle here. Anyway, latissimus. This arm is kind of coming towards us here. This arm is coming this way. Pectoral. Okay, so Chris followed up with, I was referring to the perspective trick that you were showing us right before you started this new drawing. So then, okay, so with that said, then we go back to your original comment. Why not use both means of drawing a female torso from a low eye level? Why not use both means of drawing a female torso from a low eye level? You could mix both. Dude, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm just not sure what the. I'm trying. I want to answer questions. I'm trying, dude. I can't. I'm not sure what you're. Hopefully, I made myself. Hopefully, I made myself clear with what I was. The point I was trying to illustrate. Look, with all that said, is there potentially another method for getting there? Potentially. I'm giving you something to look out for with this thought process, okay? Hope that makes sense. I know it's super frustrating when you write a question like that and you know it's not being understood. I hope I've made I thought I made myself clear. Is there another way to do it? Very probably. But I will maintain that regardless, with the laws of foreshortening, the point I was making is clear, hopefully. All right. Okay, so where are we at? 10 minutes. I said what, 15? Yikes. Okay, let's see what we can do in the next few minutes. God, it's this drawing upside down thing. It's so weird. And it really shouldn't throw you, but it just goes to show how much of this is kind of almost, you could say, like language based, right? You throw the language upside down, it's like really, really tricky. Coming across. Okay. I need to do more of this upside down practice. Makes me feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Did you miss anything? No, Doug, none at all. You're good. Or Rick, sorry. Good. Glad to hear it, Chris. Good stuff. Margot says, now, in this pose, why would the top curve of the breast be going in the direction it is? Because essentially, Margot, what we're looking at here is, for all intents and purposes, we're almost looking straight on the upper torso, from the arch of the rib cage up, or from the rib cage up. If you flip this drawing 180 degrees, where it's upside down, but for all intents and purposes, it's straight on, right? It's from lower down, it's from below the rib cage that the form really starts to go away from us, right, in the foreshortening. And so in this case, you know, the reference is kind of, I think, relatively clear on what is happening, and there's no real need to kind of change that, if that makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense. If not, let me know, because I get like why sometimes, you know, you'll hear what sounds like a fairly emphatic rule that maybe in your mind isn't being adhered to in this next pose. But I would say it is, because there simply isn't that much foreshortening on her upper torso. So we're already at 16 minutes. Hopefully it's become clear to all of you that we're going to be going on for a few here. Yeah, tricky. I think we need to incorporate a bit more of that kind of trickier foreshortening into our practice sessions. Not, you know, today we've done a particularly tricky set of poses. And I'm not necessarily saying that, you know, they should all be that difficult, but I think, you know, one good healthy foreshortening, you know, per session wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. All right, I think that it's so disorientating, isn't it? Is it just me? It's like, you know, a pose that would be really relatively straightforward from a normal orientation. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one there. Good exercise, but yikes, your brain just goes into full meltdown on those. Constantaneous. Buenas tardes. Is the upper and lower torso similar to a sheet with two kites inside? One large kite for the upper mass and one for the lower. You're talking about the Riley method, aren't you? You're disguising it as kites. I like the Riley method for the head. I do not like the Riley method for the body. I don't think it translates, and it might work theoretically with a perfect standing pose that's ideally placed in space. I think that method falls apart when we get into foreshortening and things moving in space and things becoming organic, let's say. The reason I think the Riley method works so well for the faces, because generally speaking, apart from expression, the face is a fairly, and the jaw obviously, but the face is a fairly rigid mass that doesn't change a whole lot, right? The body is way more, you know, accordion-like potentially, and I think that method starts to, it just gets too busy. And I don't like the triangle thing for the upper torso. No, I'm not a fan personally. But that's not to say, Constantine, it's important for me to add this. That's not to say that there isn't necessarily value in that method for someone out there, including yourself. It just doesn't resonate with me, all right? And there's a lot of teaching methods out there that resonate with some people and not with others. That's why we're all different, and we all bring something hopefully a little bit unique to the conversation. If that works for you, man, go for it, right? I just doesn't resonate for me. And I do maintain, I do stick by my guns and say I don't think that method's useful when things start moving in a humanistic way. Right? Hope that makes sense. Okay, last pose. I think it's a relatively straightforward one. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, makes one appreciate how much is getting done on autopilot. Lulu, truer words have never been spoken. Love the art. Thank you, Sean K. Do you usually take some time to examine the figure's shapes before you start to sketch? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's always a good idea to just take a moment when the pose is in place and the model is settled if you're in a live session. And I don't mean waiting minutes or anything, but let the model really shift and find the pose themselves. Because a lot of time a model will get a pose, and within the first 30 seconds they've decided actually they want their shoulder kind of over here a little bit, or they want to move the elbow, or whatever it might be. Let the model settle into the pose. And then just look at the overall. Here's the thing, you develop, hopefully in time, develop a library of design language on how you want to treat a particular part of the body, right? And that's kind of your starting point, what's kind of built in. But then you're going to look at the pose and go, oh, I like the way that part of the form is presented there, or whatever. And you're going to start making a list, a smaller kind of little list in the back of your mind of like mental notes of what it is that you're going to want to hopefully try and capture in your drawing, right? So yeah, examining the figure is really useful. Okay, let's keep going. I need to reset the clock. Last pose. Let's make this a... Well, let's go to the 2-hour mark. So we're 12 minutes from the top of the hour. So let's make it a 12-minute pose. How about that? Easy. 12 minutes. All right. Once again, you know, well, it's the right way round at least. But there's some interesting ideas we've got to be aware of here. I'm just going to change my pencil. I want to find. So for those of you who, if you don't mind, if you will forgive me for just doing a bit of promotion here, for those of you who are new to the stream, we meet twice a week on a Monday and a Thursday. Those are the official sessions. They both start at 5 p.m. GMT, Monday, Thursday. But then I do also do, I've been starting to do more recently of these, what I call dailies, where I put the reference on the screen. It generally has to be censored, so in as much as the model is clothed, but it does mean that we can all see the reference and you guys can draw along. These longer sessions, the Monday and Thursday sessions, tend to be 2 hours, give or take. And we're working from reference which is hosted on my website. And it obviously gives us a lot more freedom as far as what we can draw, because we're not too worried about the censorship thing, if you know what I mean, and all that comes with that. So yeah, it's very reasonable. It's only a few dollars, a couple of dollars a month, right? $2, $3 a month. You get access to the reference. I also have a tier, which I call the Serious Student tier. And with that one, you get access to every live stream and every reference pack that came with it since we've been doing this, which we're at stream 116, so more live drawing sessions than you might ever need. But the other great thing about that is you get to support the channel, which in turn means I can continue to do this and to hopefully provide you guys with something of value. So anyway, something to consider. If you're not a member, maybe being a member would be a good thing. Just throwing that out into the universe. And even if not, look, not everyone can do it. I appreciate that. But you can support in other ways. Just by liking this video. According to people, according to everyone else who posts videos, they say it helps. So please consider liking and subscribing. That would also help. And then you'll have notification of all the videos as they're coming up. All the live streams, all the educational content, all that good stuff. This arm is going back this way. I probably should have drawn this a little bit smaller, given that we're up against it with the clock. And it would have made more sense as far as with this material and everything. But anyway, it's done now. Okay. Am I using a rougher pencil now, Constantaneous? There's a possibility I am, actually. I think this manubrium is higher. I think my proportions are all over the place. All right. I can always tell when I start to lose the plot. Yeah. I'm already not liking this drawing. Oh well. Yeah, my head is way too high. Head is probably about there, actually. I'm going to have some fixing to do here. All right. Brachioradialis. I think that last drawing took it all out of me. Took the last of my mojo. Anyway, we'll keep going. Okay. Oh, Constantaneous, yeah, I was there. I was there in the new year at the secret room. Got a chance to have a look around it. I took some pictures, and the pictures are on my social media, and there's a blog post on my website of all the pictures, including the outside, well, the view of it from the outside. Go check it out. And you can see it for yourself. Got some nice pictures of it, I think. Well, we said 12 minutes, right? I'm not too far off here. Then we've got this material. We should kind of maybe explain it just a little bit. The fact it's coming across the form here, coming down here. Something like that. And then this leg is coming down. Well, this material's coming down, her leg is braced in it there. Okay. Yeah, not great, but there you go. Take the good with the bad. Thanks, thank you, Margot. Appreciate it. All right, guys. I think that is a wrap. Yeah, the drawing kind of turned out okay. It's more what's going on in here. Just felt a bit fatigued. Kind of pulled something out that was salvaged a little bit. Anyway, with that said, that's it for today, folks. We went 2 hours on the button. Look at that. That was a good session. I think we had some really nice challenges there. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was a workout though, definite workout. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. So the regular session will be back obviously Thursday, as I was saying. But I will, between now and then, I will most likely do a daily. Dailies get you get notified on the day, usually about 3 hours before, roughly around the same time as these. They have been so far anyway. They've all started at 5 GMT, but I don't commit to that. Might decide to start them half an hour earlier or later. But so far, as I said, yeah, they've been at 5. So I'm not sure whether it'll be tomorrow or Wednesday, but one of those, I'm sure I'll do one of the dailies. As I said, they tend to be shorter, about an hour, and the reference is on the screen. How about that? They don't stay around forever though. I turn them into members only videos until the next one goes up. So catch them while they're hot. If you wouldn't mind, folks, hit the like button on your way out the door. Much appreciated, as always, as are all of you. This stream is nothing without you guys. So thanks for joining. Yeah, it's much appreciated. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you then. All right, guys. Cheers. Bye.